Hi, I'm Lady D Denise Gomez, and I have exciting interview segments and features inside the zone. For recording artists, you can sing. Well, Inside the Zone, second Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. is for you. Writers, share your story, no man, in From the Author Zone on third Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Male Zone has unbelievably juicy stories of love, heartbreak, and triumph. 7 p.m. has never been this good. On Mondays, it's news, talk, engaging features at 7 in the Monday Drive. And Center Stage has everyone talking on Thursdays. Be a part of the show. Email me insidethezone@gmail.com or call me 914-304-2592. For 2 days, the 5 o'clock hour is hot on Fit FM 96.7, www.fitfmja.com. Your life, your music with Lady D Denise Gomez inside the zone. Catch me on Monday at 5 p.m. for the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. And on Friday, yes, at 5 p.m. for Center Stage, the platform where voices are heard and people connect. From abroad to yard, Trelawney. Jamaica's motto, out of many one people, reflects its rich diversity, beginning with the Indigenous Arawak and Taino people, who were the original inhabitants of Jamaica. But come to think of it, we have Afro-Jamaican, Indo-Jamaican, Chinese Jamaican, and White Jamaican influences. The unique mix of cultures, features, and backgrounds creates a vibrant and colorful Jamaican identity. We're celebrating the beauty of our unity in diversity as Satideh Mawnin Runnings. Come, make we talk.
Welcome to Satideh Mawnin Runnings. It's another great Saturday. We are alive. Pinch, pinch, pinch. Slap, slap, slap. It's a good day. And we are so happy to be here with you. I don't know how many persons are saying to themselves, boy, I wonder what they're coming with this morning. But you know what? There's never a dull moment on this platform. Satideh Mawnin Runnings, aired right here on Inside the Zone, the community platform where information is guaranteed. We broadcast every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pinch yourselves and say, Medea, Medea, we welcome you. Good morning to Jack. Good morning to Max.
Good morning. Good morning. And
Max,
not
I
just
see you
Good
pinching
morning. Good
information,
yourself.
morning.
not
I'm
just
pinching
information,
myself.
but good information.
Good information, right?
Good information.
Last week was a good informational segment we had.
Yes.
So we'd like to welcome everybody here. And if you are joining us for the very first time, we open up, we hand in like this, and we say welcome, you know, and
Mhm.
and and don't be a stranger. Come back next week. If you
Yeah.
are just
From every week.
joining as well, we invite you to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Inside the Zone on YouTube. Inside the Zone on the YouTube channel. So if you want to see all the platforms where you can find us, we did it right there. So you want another quick look? Here we go again. We're right here. So good morning to you, and you. How are the ladies? How has the week been? I know that sometimes it's a little topsy-turvy, but you know what? We dig deep inside and pull out that resourceful spirit that we are gifted with
Yes,
to go through
absolutely. Because that's how we're made up.
to go through some
Hmm.
challenging moments in our
Yes.
lives.
Challenging.
So,
Very challenging. Very
yes.
testing and challenging.
Yeah. And
Sometimes you're going smoothly and then you just buck up on a week like it just hits you like a ton of bricks, but you know that resilience in us, we just have to reach for that and say a
Yes.
prayer. I just felt that need to say a prayer this morning even more than before,
Right.
because it has been that kind of week.
Yes.
Actually.
Yes.
And it has, it's sometimes the devil, we give him a lot of credit. I don't know why, but sometimes we still have to mention that, remember that there's a strong force out there, another energy out there that sometimes
Yes.
disturbs peace, and we have to be aware of it, and we have to know how to combat it.
Right.
So
and not to pretend it doesn't
Absolutely.
exist.
exactly. So we thank
Yes.
God that
Absolutely.
and we're strong enough to do that. So here
Wonderful.
we are.
Our first guest, so Max, how you do?
I am not complaining. I have to give God thanks. It's been raining here and gotten cold again. The little warm weather we did get last week went away.
It took a trip.
Well, it's been raining and it's cold, but I'm accepting it and bearing it because nobody then call me.
Right.
Oh goodness me.
I need to create laughter, right?
You
Yeah,
took
we
it
have to
upon
laugh.
yourself. Yeah,
That's
because
what keeps us sane.
we're having rain all day until about 9 o'clock tonight. So
Oh wow.
it's raining here, and
Wow.
Yes.
it's 43 degrees right now in
Well,
our
in our part of the world here, we're praying for some rain. We had a little shower last night, but it wasn't anything much, and it's been weeks that we haven't had like that rains that we'd have every afternoon here in Florida. So I guess
I'll send
coming
you
up
some of
to
mine.
coming up to
I'll be a good
the
neighbor and send you some of mine.
coming up to this spring, time, we probably will start getting that afternoon rains like we used to.
Yeah.
But it's been nice. The weather has not been like very, very hot. It's comfortable and a nice breeze and all that. So
Okay, hey, so you have nothing
Great.
to complain about.
Mhm.
We will not complain. So good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. So our emphasis is that we are asking you, once you come in this space, there are a lot of you who have just been family, but we need some more family members. So please, once you come in this space, the same link that you got or you picked up on social media, I'm asking you to just copy and share it with a few people, at least five people, and ask them to, once again, what did we both see put up not too long ago? To like, comment, share, and subscribe. Okay? All right. So please like the channel, share the channel, subscribe to the channel. Good morning. We are celebrating the beauty of our unity in diversity. That's what we're talking about. We look at each other and we say, that one red like ready book. um, because some of us are lighter in our skin tone. Some have freckles on their faces. Some have wide forehead. Some have high cheekbones. So may I describe myself, you know.
Mhm.
Some of us have a little flare off nostrils, some straight like board, some neck short, some neck too tall, some have bigger bust lines, some have curly hair, some have not so curly, some say comb can broke enough for them. So all,
Yeah.
you know, hey. So we look at each other in our country and we are wondering, no, why this person looks so. And even in our families, right?
Yes, I was gonna say.
You find that one child look just like an uncle, a great 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 aunt, great 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 grandmother. Aye, here comes
Hey,
fabulous.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Good
good
morning.
Good
morning, Sean.
morning.
I just flew
Yeah.
in from the north.
Oh,
Yeah. Sure.
the
Yeah.
North Pole. It's not like the North Pole.
It is the North
Welcome from the
Pole.
north.
Yes, it's cold.
It's
I'm bringing the
cold.
cold air.
Sure.
Ooh.
Morning,
Yeah.
Ouch.
morning, morning,
Morning.
everybody.
Good to see you,
Morning,
Sharnsy.
Charles.
So, Sharns,
Yes.
I was just doing the intro and I was saying that, you know, there were some people who were much lighter in skin tone and we would call them redibo.
Yes,
And
and
um,
you remember the term mulatto? Mulatto?
mulata.
Yes.
Mulata.
Yes,
Malata.
Mm-hmm.
Malata.
yes.
I remember that.
Malata. We used to say
In
malata.
our lingua, Malata.
Yes,
Yes. You're red like
Yes.
Malata. Yeah.
So
yes.
we wonder at times how all of these things happen. You know, a child come looking like some distant relative,
Mm-hmm.
or they have the same mannerisms,
Yes.
you know, or they are different from the others
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
behavior, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in the way they speak.
Right.
There are so many similarities to our descendants, and we wonder um, the darker skinned or the black person, the person who, when we say them, look like tar. So there are some
Are them dark
connotation,
like
you know,
midnight? Them
or
dark
them
like
dark like
midnight.
Like
midnight.
midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Deep melanin.
And with that also comes anything black no good.
Right.
Yes.
And we use those
Mm.
kinds of terms, not realizing one, disrespectful, two,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
harmful to your emotions. It weakens your
Yes.
pride
Mm-hmm.
in yourself
Mm-hmm.
as a
Very
person.
demeaning, yeah.
And so we tend to want to associate, connect ourselves with people by way of how they look. So
Yeah.
Yes.
if you have lighter shade skin and little curly hair and
Mm-hmm.
on, if you're a
Yes. People
male,
gravitate towards you.
uh-huh. So if the male is of that posture, you know, then some females want to connect themselves and they will do anything so that if they um okay, come out with the nice soft curly hair and
And
sometimes and,
sometimes they don't.
and
Then take
some
what mama
and
That's a
then
real thing.
you know the conversation becomes is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And before DNA even happened, that child will be isolated, you know, in the home, but isolated, not well received.
Not there, the
And
Mm-hmm.
affection turned down low.
same way. So,
Yes.
all of those things we want to say to people that, hey, we are biologically connected, separate and apart from if you are given a given name. So you may be adopted and you take the name, they give you the name of the family in which you are adopted. All those variables that we think about. So that's how we want to kind of bring in the conversation this morning, reminding ourselves that we are one. Adopted or not,
Okay.
we are one, and that's where the unity in diversity comes in. Because people have walked around with their heads held not high, but bent very low, almost
Hang
down to
down.
the ground, because they were not accepted. They just felt shame, and through the community, that's the theme. Through the community, the one
I
when
know
you
a
go over
family.
so.
I know a family in Jamaica. They're pretty well to do. And at one time, I lived in the same area as the family. And the mother is dark-skinned Indian, Jamaican Indian. The father is Scottish, mix, Jamaican Scottish mix. And the father's parents would treat the man's wife differently because she was of dark skin, right there in our Jamaican community. And then she had two daughters. One of them was lighter skin, the other one was darker skin. She looked more like the mother. And the grandparents treated the two children differently, even though they were from the same mother and same father. And the light-skinned one, the grandparents would accept more than the dark-skinned one. They both have straight hair, straight, Indian curly-looking hair, a mix between the mother and the father. But however, the man's parents would treat the two children differently and made no qualms about it, because the light-skinned one, I guess, is more acceptable for them. And that kind of difference is disturbing.
Them.
Yeah. It's not something I asked, it's something I've experienced. I've seen it because I lived lived with them. Me and them were good friends, and actually I rented an apartment from them. And they would come in town and we'd play games together and whatever. And they would tell me, the mother and the father would tell, they were such nice people. But he said his parents just were still hung up on this class and color thing right there in Jamaica. And we need to think differently. I hope that has changed more, quite a bit, because that was something that stood up strongly in our Jamaican communities. Class and color and that kind of foolishness.
Well, believe it or not, ladies, as growing up, I heard a lot of that. And it's funny because a lot of things that we hear, I personally heard as a child growing up. I never understood it. I never delved deep into it or figured it out in my brain as to what was really happening as a child. But now that I'm a grown woman and I look back and listen, I can hear the stuff that was said in my presence as a child. And I said, oh my God, that was wrong. Because back then you didn't understand. You didn't really pay attention. Because you weren't even that smart or that educated to understand and to figure it out. But as you grow older and you're more educated and you look back, you said, oh my God, that was wrong. I do recall too as a child growing up, my uncle's wife, she would cuss her own picnic then. I mean, go ahead, move on yourself, you're ugly like, your nose big like, your head dry like, your head tough, you can't learn. And they would just say things negative. She in particular would always say things negative to her daughters and her boys. And back then, as I said, it never registered me, but now that we're doing all these shows and these things are coming back to me and realizing, oh my God, that was so wrong. Why would you look at your child and tell your child that you're ugly like, your nose big like? I mean, this is your child. It's not even your neighbor, it's your child. That was just so wrong for anybody to have said that to their child. I also recall when I've gotten engaged and we were about to get married. She looked at her daughters, of one or two of the daughters, and said, I want to now ever get married. They're not going to find a husband. I mean, we should not really say negative things to our children in general. we should
Mm-hmm.
not come out negative like that. It doesn't matter. Because
My
you bring these
concern,
kids here, why would you tell them that they're ugly and then black and then this and then that? And
the
that's
concern
and
is,
you made a good point just now, Lady D, when you said that lighter skinned people back then, and they're probably happening now to were the pride and joy of the
Mm-hmm.
nation. If you were dark
mm,
skinned and your hair dry and short, nobody no look on you, you were looked down on. I
Mm-hmm.
experienced that part of it. Where when I went to school because my hair was short and it couldn't plait the front of it, they would plait the top and leave the back, just comb out the back and leave it because it was too short to even plait or braid. And I would be
Mm-hmm.
teased,
Right.
and looked down on. So yeah,
right, gal.
and those things, yes. And it don't and because back then I had low self-esteem because I felt unwanted, unloved. And that's
Mm-hmm.
one of those are the things that led me to writing or to write, because to me I have to document my feelings, and it's just wrong. And
Yeah.
those of us who are listening, and when this show is aired, I hope the folks who are still in that era of putting your kids down or your family member, I hope we change and switch that position.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Absolutely.
And we should be celebrating each other.
Yeah,
Our motto says, out of
diversity.
many,
Wow.
one
All right.
people, which mean it's not only black people going to be there. So when it comes on to the Afro-Jamaicans or Black Jamaicans refer to the citizens of Jamaica who are descendants of Black Africans or partially Black Africa. The first Black Africans were brought to Jamaica in 1513, and they were from the Iberian Peninsula. When Jamaica became a British colony in 1655, many of them fought with the Spanish, who gave them their freedom. For many years, they resisted the British to maintain their freedom, and some fled to the mountains, some fled to the mountains, and they were referred to as the Maroons. The British came with
Mm-hmm.
Deccan slaves, and some of them ran away to join the Maroons. By 1700, Jamaica had large plantations of sugarcane, and the population consisted of about 7,000 British and about 40,000 enslaved Africans. In
Wow.
1800, there were about 2,100 British and about 300,000 slaves of African origin. So, when we
Mm-hmm.
talk about your two black or your favorite
Mhm.
tar baby, we are descendants of human beings first. But you and I understand that during the slave era, they thought we weren't really humans.
Yes.
They just saw us as
Sad.
objects that they
Yeah.
could use and exploit, and which is why they worked them so hard
Mm-hmm.
to death. Some of them were
Mm-hmm.
died from
Right.
exhaustion.
Right. You are
So
behind.
that kind of mentality is ingrained. It's from generation to generation.
The generation.
Yes. And the
Hmm.
fact that, and look at the dynamic, the fact that the house slaves, the women,
Mm-hmm.
would take on the mindset that I am better than the ones who
Better.
are out in the field. So even
Uh-huh.
when they had to bed with their slave masters, it still never feels so bad because he saw me worthy of that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So it's a really devious plot. And the plot is, of course, a sequence of events in a story that, is ongoing
Mm-hmm.
even
Hmm.
today.
Yeah,
So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a lot of times like that. They were a victim of circumstance, really. You
mhm,
know what I mean? Because I was gonna say all of that classism, if you want to call it that, it stemmed from Bucky Master. Bucky Master decided that him like this one and him, procreate with that one, and the offsprings look a certain way, and they decide to
Mm-hmm.
treat them differently than the other ones, and and
Mm-hmm.
and maybe the mother was given special privileges and stuff. And back in those days, like hard. So if they could be taken out of the fields and be now put in the house, they will do whatever they must to keep to keep
To
that
keep that
privilege. So
position.
a lot of it just yeah, it was just
But
heaped on them, and they just went with it. Yeah, because who wouldn't
but
want to come out of the fields and be in the house?
which also has transitioned into present day, because
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
when I was growing up, there were some people who sent off their children to be with other families or to be with a man,
Mm-hmm.
because
Right.
they couldn't manage to take care if they had multiple children, and one
Mm-hmm.
had to be the sacrifice to go live with somebody
Yeah.
or work for somebody and send home the money come, and all those kinds of things. So whether it's our
Yeah.
color, whether it's to weaken us in exploitation, and most of the times it's always economic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, yeah.
I still
Absolutely.
think, regardless, we have come a long way, and Jamaica on a whole is a very accepting, tolerant country still, regardless of our differences. Where it has to do with the different tones and the different classes. We still have a little of that
Mhm.
to deal with, but I still think that we have come a long way, because anywhere in this world you go and you see a Jamaican, whether them white looking Chinese or looking Indian, black, whatever, you can recognize a Jamaican. For some reason, that body language we can recognize. I walked into a
Yeah.
restaurant. I never forget. This is about from 2009, I think it was. I walked into a restaurant down in Manhattan with a friend who is an American. And the moment I walked in the restaurant, I said, that man over there is a Jamaican. And he was behind the counter. So obviously he was a manager. So, and the person says to me, how you know that? That's a Chinese guy. How you know that he's Jamaican? I said, I just know. And I was at the door, and the man was all the way up the line, over the
Yes.
that's a Jamaican. And
Mhm.
when I got up to, because it's a buffet line, and when I got up to that point, I said something to him in Jamaican. I said, Wagwan. And he said, where the Wagwan? You know me? And the
Right.
person looked at me like that. I said, how did you know that he was Jamaican? I said, I can just tell. And this man
We can
is
spot it. Yes,
Chinese.
we
If
can
you look at
spot
him, he's
them.
straight. I would just strike up a conversation, a Jamaican conversation. And it was like my brother. It's like I met my brother, because
Right.
it was another
Yes.
Jamaican. It was the first time I was really running into a Jamaican
Yeah.
Chinese like that. And
Kindred.
we were just,
Yeah.
it was just like an awesome meeting. So
Kindred
that,
spirits. Yeah.
yes,
So there
we
is
know,
Yeah.
something.
and
There is
regardless of
something.
what happened
And
out there, something
yeah, and
happened, we all are getting involved
Hmm.
because we're Jamaicans. So,
Right.
yeah, but
Yes.
that is why they often think that we know each other.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Uh-huh.
saying I've been in circles where I have run into a person from Jamaica, and not necessarily somebody with my features, because I ran into a completely white guy. When I say completely, his English doesn't mix at all, and he was just chatting part was straight. I would
Yes.
say, where you come from? And he was very much Jamaican, 100% born and bred, but he was here, you know? And
Yes.
and and sometimes because you meet people like that and you start having a conversation, people looking on the side, or maybe the company that you came to the place with, they say, you know each other. We like, no, they say, but how you talking like that? But it don't take
That's
anything
just
for
a
us to
Right.
greeting.
like just connect. Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't know each other from a hole in the
Yeah.
wall. Yeah, we don't know each other at all. If seen for the first time, and you can
A
have an
hole in the
entire
wall.
A hole in the wall.
conversation.
And I want us to
You
keep
know what
that. I want the
I mean?
Jamaicans.
From a hole.
I would just want us
Hmm.
to keep that, because that's something that's unique to us. We don't have to
Hmm.
know the person, but as long as we know that
I
you're
think
Jamaican.
we still have that.
Yes, or if we move to
Yes.
a neighborhood and
Well,
the neighborhood new to us, and we hear, so there's a Jamaican who lived down the block. We're gonna find that Jamaican there.
yes.
We're gonna have some kind
Yes.
of
Yes.
meet and
Good for
You
greet or
want
that.
to see a
something.
who?
Max, you can probably
Yes.
talk on
Yes.
this.
Because you might
Yes.
know them.
Yeah,
Yes, and it no matter what color they
Yes.
are. you know, and I have a few more
Yeah,
stories
you
after
know,
that.
I
It's just
like when,
amazing.
yeah,
Go
but
ahead,
I like
Sharon.
when you know, you see where, yeah, I like when the person is Jamaican, but they don't look Jamaican at all. And they
Right.
may have moved the circle that they are circles that they have been moving in was not like the typical diaspora Caribbean community. And
Mm-hmm.
persons had no idea at all that they were Jamaican, and all of us into a, and it done right up. Everything
Which
just
takes
fine,
me.
whether they had a British accent.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, lady.
No. So
No,
as
I'm
we are
saying whatever
talking
accent
here,
they had at the time, they just drop and gone. Uh-huh.
right?
Sharon,
But
you're very
as we
delayed.
know,
I don't know if it's just me hearing and you're
yes,
dropping out a
she's
little bit.
yes, her. I guess it's the space she's in.
I'm
Oh,
in the
okay.
boonies. I'm in the boonies.
She's in the
I'm
boonies.
I mean I'm off the
Oh,
grid.
okay.
Right.
Okay, okay.
So, and then, and what makes us so unique across the Caribbean is when you see different nationalities and we sound the same, like we're saying. So, you have the Indians who are born
Right.
there, you have Chinese who are born there, you have
Yes.
Syrians,
Mhm.
you
Mm-hmm.
have Caucasians
Oh
who are
yeah.
born there.
Yes.
But because some of us,
Yeah.
depending on where they're situated, because they may not be in your parish as much.
Mm-hmm.
Some parish you find more Indians, some parish you find more
Right.
Yes.
Chinese. That
Yes.
that
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
thing. So
Right.
Yes.
Right.
when we happen to be
Right.
in the to cross path and we look at them, the first thing we would think, where so much of them are do ya? Not realizing where them come from.
Exactly.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and
Right.
but when they open their mouth,
Right.
you you say,
Mhm.
but hold on, little, you're Jamaican.
But top. There's a
In,
but
in,
top.
Very much so.
you know, right.
But
So
Yeah.
top.
that too
Yeah.
sometimes is a little astonishing, especially if you're not as exposed. So for some of
Exactly.
us
Yes.
who are more exposed in
Right.
whether across the
Right.
country or
Right.
it's in the diaspora or wherever we go and we are mingling with different people, that somewhat becomes second nature to us.
Right.
But
Yes.
for those who
You know,
Right.
know, as long as they know in a for them head, the people from Femi community and parish just black.
yes.
Hmm.
So when they see the others, they just can't figure it out that where so much of
Yes.
them I do here,
Hmm.
Yes. Well,
right?
you know what,
More,
ladies?
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I had a situation where when I was in high school, when I was in high school, there was just this one Chinese girl that was in high school. And I mean, everybody looked at her. I know that she could feel the eyes. She was very tall, and usually Chinese, most Chinese are short, but she was extremely tall, skinny, no breast. I mean, no breast, flat
Mhm.
chested, totally flat. But she was very, very smart, and she was the only Chinese that I knew and that anybody at the school knew because she was the only Chinese in the whole high school. And I know that she felt the difference because it's like she never had too many friends either. It's like people not talk to her because she had Chinese. I don't know if it's because I don't think it was a case where she was disliked, but the fact that she was different and I know she could feel it. Because she
Hmm.
was just very shy all the time. Don't have too many friends. Don't talk to her. Body just say hi and she gone. But
Yes.
but she was the only Chinese I knew at the time, and
Mhm.
I ever seen in Jamaica at the time. In high school. So I can
Oh, that was
imagine.
long time.
Yeah, that was really long time. I'm telling
Hmm.
you. So I
Yeah,
can I
my
can just imagine when
yeah,
you're the only
my
one of your kind somewhere, huh?
yeah. No, no,
Yeah, when
finish
you're
what
the
you're
only
saying,
one of
Max.
your I was just saying, I can imagine when you're the only one of your kind in a situation. I also recall in my district there were only Indians and Black Americans, Indians, and they would call us Negroes then. Back then, I don't know if you're familiar with that term, right? Then
Yes.
now they said nigger,
Mm-hmm.
nigger and
Hmm.
coolie,
Near
because that was
guppy.
another
Big
name
and
that they
coolie.
used. a nigger and cool in my district.
Yes.
Never saw a Chinese, never saw a white in my district. Outside of my district, there was a white couple that lived in St. Mary, yes, of course. But I don't even know if they were Jamaicans, but I know they were living there. So I've never heard them spoken, so I don't know if they were Jamaicans or they'd moved from abroad to live there. But that was the only white couple that I knew when I lived in St. Mary as a child growing up. Otherwise, everybody I did nigger.
But you know, I had the opposite I had the opposite experience because going to the school I went to, being in Montego Bay, there were it was almost 50% non-blacks. The ratio of students,
Yes.
black to non-black, were like about 50 to 60%. Because
Yes.
I
I know that
had,
school. Yes, true, Sharnette.
there was a lot of Chinese. Lot of Chinese. If I were to pull up my yearbook, it was chin, 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 chin. It was just a lot of Chinese. We had Scottish. We had a lot of like British white people. It was a lot. My friend Fiona was not was Fiona is Scottish. They have been not Scottish. I'm sorry, Irish. Another one, she was Scottish. Judith Fiona was Irish, I should say. And we had gotten in. Well, what happened when they built Cornwall Regional Hospital back in the day? They had to get doctors from abroad because there weren't enough doctors. Because I remember when they made the hospital, it was the tallest building at the time in Montego,
Yes.
having I think 12 floors. So they had to get doctors from outside of the country. And so those doctors came across, had children. And so by the time I got to high school, they were the same age as myself. And my high school happened to be at the time very exclusive and was hard to get into and all of that stuff. So there weren't many of this there. It was 50% on either side, I would think. So there was a lot of white children there, a lot of Indians. My friend Pravina Mungara, all of them. There was Indians, Chinese, white, a lot of them, and they grew up in Germany. Some of them were born there. Some came and they were very young, and they grew up there, and they talk just like me. Them straight patois. So some of us are still in contact. But if
Yes.
you see them out, you would never think that this girl is Jamaican at all because of the fact that because Fiona could never get a tan, although she was born there, she couldn't get a tan. She was just extremely
Yeah.
white, and all she did
Here.
was break out in freckles. And these girls were able to
Okay.
travel abroad. Like when we get summer vacation, they would go abroad for their summer vacation to their families, and then they would come back.
Come
And
back.
so that it was a good mix. And so I grew up, just look at them like regular. I'm not in awe of them. They're just like me. And
Right.
when I started my first job here, I was the only black person in the office. The only black person. I don't feel no way. Many times, even now, still where I'm at, I'm the only black person. But I just carry myself with the elegance I know I should, the self-assuredness. And I don't
Right.
feel no way. I don't
Well,
look around. Even one guy look at me and say, "Oh, it's not fair. You guys have all that melanin." And I'm
Nah.
like, "Y'all got all that money. So you keep your money. I keep my melanin."
and keep your
But
melanin,
do
of
you know that
course.
they're buying
Same stuff.
melanin? They're buying melanin now,
Melanin.
right?
So I
Anybody
hear.
heard of the
Yes.
trend?
So I hear.
Yeah, them have a thing now where them scratch you in some areas that won't show, and they harvest your melanin. So if you need to know the ongoing price, see me after.
So I
Yes,
feel.
Interesting.
I'm
So I
serious.
feel. So
Call me.
They're buying melanin.
So let's back up with some facts here.
So
So
if you
the Indo,
yes,
the Indo-Jamaicans are citizens of Jamaica who are descendants of immigrants from the Indian subcontinent. The Indo-Jamaicans from the third largest ethnic group in the country after the Afro-Jamaicans and African multiracials. They account for 0.8% of the country's population. The African mixed Jamaicans identify themselves as Black, and therefore the population of Jamaicans with Indian ancestry. Jackie, could you mute? The African mixed Jamaicans identify themselves as Black, and therefore the population of Jamaicans with Indian ancestry is believed to be much higher than what is reported. Between 1845 and 1917, more than 36,000 Indians came from British India to British Jamaica because of the deteriorating socioeconomic conditions in India at the time. The majority of Indians originated from the northern part of India in the Hindi belt, particularly in Awadhi and Bojuri. Bhojpuri regions. The minority of Indians also came from the southern part of India. It is estimated that about 2/3 of the laborers who came from India remained on the island of Jamaica. So when we see them there, we are connected. Now, the high school I attended, that's on the Veer Plain. And there is a large settlement of Indians in that area. So in high school, there were a lot of them. We didn't really have, so you had Black, you had some girls, I don't remember where Vashti them come from, what their biological antecedents are from, but they were pretty girls with really nice hair. Good, let me not use the term good quality, because that also became a thing.
Yes, because as they say, hair is hair. There's no such thing as good hair or bad hair. Hair is hair. You might have a preference, but hair is hair.
Hair is hair.
Right. So we
That's
had
why I have no hair.
So you had quite a few of Indians and less of the lighter shade people, but we were used to them. But we all there, some from Lionel Town, some from his wherever.
I have family in Lionel Town, Lady D.
Oh, you do?
One of my grandmother's sisters, yes. So and the children and children's children. So
right,
I have quite a bit of family.
Right. So and then the prejudice creeps in, because it is believed in some cultures that you marry in your own culture. If your heart lead you over to another culture, that became a very big conversation. Some are excommunicated from families, because if it is so ingrained and that is their culture, and you say, well, I fall in love with Tom and he is referred to as the Blackie Tutus, then that is also a major problem.
Yes.
So families have been broken up, disrupted, because a girl decides that he's the man I love, and here is a Black man who is telling his family that is this Indian girl I want. She may love, and the ultimatum is given, and you have to make your choice at that point.
Yes.
So there are some rigidity in the whole mix of the thing that and while we have discussed in the past that it is sometimes very necessary, but heart and necessary now work together.
Absolutely
Not at all. Not at all.
So while it may be um, the fact that you want to have that experience with this person, the coming together of the cultures and understanding and becoming even adaptable to what obtains, how much I can manage. Do I really understand what I'm coming into? Because sometimes they don't have that conversation in the, the
Mhm.
dating process and stuff.
Yes, until
All
it's all
they
in.
know,
Yeah.
all they know is that they love. But there is
My
so
Yes,
heart
much
goes
more.
for you like fly goes for.
Yeah,
you know what?
right. So there is that part of it, that aspect of it too, that becomes very, very difficult for people to handle. And when they do come
Yes.
together now, then you realize that she do a certain thing, so and him do this, and
Mhm.
she like, and all those things. So
And
it's
confusion
important.
starts.
It is important that
Yes.
if
Confusion.
we're gonna confusion, if we are gonna cross over into cultures, we need to go study the culture, find out about it
Yes.
before
Yes. I know about one another.
and know about
Absolutely.
one another.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know
I,
what?
I, I,
Let me share.
Go ahead, Max.
Sorry, if I may share this quickly, because I had a situation where my mother has 8 of us, and three before marriage and five with her husband. My mother was married to an Indian. I am the
Okay.
second child for her. And
Mm-hmm.
hence I grew up with my grandmother. And the reason being, this is what my grandmother told me, because when my mother was ready to get married, of course, to an Indian man in the district, my grandmother told me that she took me from my mother and groomed me because she was afraid for me to grow up with my mother, owing to the fact that the man she was about to marry is not my father,
Mm.
you know? So
Hmm.
because she was afraid of me being ill treated, because I mean, tell you, my mother husband is Indian, and he was Indian because he's dead now. He passed away.
Mm.
Both of them are
Mm.
deceased.
Deceased.
But
Mm-hmm.
he was so high colored. He was one of them dark Indians, very high colored. They call him white man. So you must know how color he was. Everybody in the district knew him as white man. And
Mm-hmm.
and back then, as a child of my mother, and all my siblings are, well, most of my siblings are mixed. My three sisters and two brothers, who is my mother's husband, kids. They're mixed. They all have curly hair and lighter than me. They're much lighter than I am. So we look at them. Back then, I used to see them as just half sister, half brother.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you grow up and you learn and you understand, you throw away the half out of your head.
1 minute,
They are
Max.
my brothers
Jack.
and sisters.
1 minute, Max. Jackie, mute for me.
What are you hearing? I'm trying to figure out.
Yes, so I don't look at them as half brother and half sister anymore. They are my brothers and they are my sister, even though we're not same father. And we
Right.
live like that. We never differentiate or talk about it because it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter to us.
Right.
Because they say mother's baby, father's maybe. So we just know
Maybe
we
we
came
did
from the
that.
same womb. So we
Yes.
cherish the fact that we're all siblings of the same mother.
And it's
But back
interesting.
then it was just a different thing. Yeah.
And I feel it for your experience. And it's interesting because lack of understanding and knowledge can
Oh yeah.
also
Oh
create that
yeah.
kind of a situation,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
because if your grandma took that position, maybe not getting to know her son-in-law enough to
Right.
figure out if
Mm-hmm.
there's any prejudice there or anything like that, to have removed you from the home, to protect you,
Right.
then a lot of people have endured that. Did you know? It was just this past Sunday we had church, and our speaker alluded to the fact that what he realized was not a part of the Bob Marley movie is that when his mother had him, um, he was not received because she had had him for a white man. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
they didn't receive him well enough to the point where he was almost like an outcast. He had to,
Yes.
Yes.
yes, he had to
Yeah. A
be
lot of people don't know that.
right. He had to almost sleep out a door, under bed, wherever.
That part I didn't even know.
Yes. So
Yeah, man.
these kinds of ill treatment meted out to people. If you don't have that kind of, if you're not built with that kind of strong, resilient spirit,
Yes.
it will break you.
Yeah.
And when you start to have relationships and so on, you can transfer some of that into your relationship,
Into
and
relationship, true.
your partner totally caught off guard because they
Yeah.
don't know where this is coming from. Why you
Right.
behave the way you
Unconsciously too.
behave,
Unconsciously too. You're not even realizing because it's
Yes.
as it's ingrained
That
in
you're
you.
doing it.
It's a part of you that it just comes out. So
right?
That is what's called baggage. You
Indeed,
come with that baggage.
that a most
Yeah, but
that a most
but you know
Dulcie
what?
need.
I have some stats here. They are a little outdated because the responses based on the 2011 census, and this is Jamaica.
Mhm.
Of all the persons that responded, the ones who considered themselves black, total was 2,471,000 and change. Of that, 1,226,000 was males, and almost the same for females, 1,245,000. Those considered Chinese, or their response is that they're Chinese, was 5,228, of which 2,800 were male, 2,300 were female. Those who considered themselves mixed was 162,000 and change. 73,000 identified as male, 89,000 as female. East Indians, 20,000, of which 10,000 and change were male, 9,000 and change female. And white, 4,365, of which almost half were male, half female. And then some other people reported themselves as being other. And they totaled almost 2,000 people. And this is Jamaica in 2011.
Okay, can I
So we're
piggyback
talking
on that?
about,
wow.
certainly.
Okay, so I too have a little bit of documentation there, which I researched. And it says here, as of 2023, Jamaicans of African descent represent 76.3% of the population, 15.1% Afro-European, 3.4% East Indian and Afro-East Indian, 3.2% Caucasian, 1.2% Chinese, 0.8% others. So I wanted to talk about the other. Yes, the other. That's the part I really want us to talk about and discuss a little bit. Who's the other? A little bit of Chinese, a little bit of Negro, a little bit of Caucasian mix. Who is the other?
No, that
Well,
could be
they
It's
have
a question I'm throwing
classified
out there.
themselves.
from
Because
Latin.
0.8% is other. So I'm curious as to find out who the others are. Who is other?
I'm sure there are still a certain percentage of others there, and that could be probably from Latin descent or any other ethnicities that were not mentioned there, or people who just consider themselves not being a part of that mix. You know, they might look like
Yeah.
like black or look like they're mixed persons, but they don't want to be identified as such. So maybe they just did not respond to that part of the census. So it's not that the others are not there. There are some others there, but they might not have responded to that part of the
Right.
census.
And
Because
some of them
I was
perhaps
thinking
really,
that the others.
some
Sorry,
of
I was
them
thinking that the
perhaps
other
really
is a
don't know.
mixture of.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Max.
No, Max.
So I
Go
was
ahead.
thinking that the other, when I read the article and I made the notation, I was thinking that the others maybe, like for example, my brothers who are living in Jamaica because they're mixed with black and Indian, or
But
you
they are
might
part
find a
of the
person
mix.
with black. So,
They would be a part of the
but
mixed percentage.
Yeah, they're on the
Yeah,
mix.
They're on the
but this
mix.
this documentation here that I found, it specifies you Afro-European, East Indian, Caucasian, Chinese, and then it says other. So I was thinking to myself, well, maybe this set of other, which is 0.8%, is a mixture of all of these other races. Because you can
Yeah,
find one
other
person of
races not
Chinese in them.
mentioned.
Other races not
Right.
mentioned.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Which is why I also believe that there are people who really don't know. They know they look a certain way, but they don't know who their antecedents are.
Right.
They are not,
Right.
yeah,
they are not,
yeah.
they are not informed at all to
Right.
say if
Right.
they're part German, part something, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
They really
And you
don't.
know what I find very interesting. I had met someone once, and he was mixed on both sides. His mother was
Wow.
mixed race, and his father was of mixed race, and there were all four different mixed races coming together to have him.
Hmm.
So
Crazy.
So
I mean, he's a very
Complicated.
yeah,
so
man.
maybe
He's
he's one of the
very
other.
exactly. He is other because even here well, I guess they did it in order to make things simple. If you, because I have mixed people in my family,
Me too.
all right, and they were told, look, once you have a black parent, you are black.
Hmm.
So if
Yes.
you're black or
Right.
mixed with white, you are still
You're still black.
considered black.
Considered black. Yes.
Yes.
Cause
Yeah.
black blood
Yeah.
rich. Them tell a black woman is the only woman who can have any nation picnic.
Yes.
Any nation a black woman can have. You know what I
Yeah.
Yes.
mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
yes, so
Yes.
but it is a fact. They tell you if one of your parents is black, then you are black. I have white people that married into my family and whatever, and the children consider themselves black. If you tell them they're white, they say no. And some of them are lighter and
Hmm.
they have the hair and them blonde and them this and them that, but they're very
Hmm.
prideful and they tell you nope, I'm black. So it's
So
what
Because
let's
they
talk
the
about the
black race is dominant.
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
The
They're
And
very
bloodline of the black
dominant.
is dominant. Yeah,
Yeah.
it dominates.
Yeah. I
Right.
know a
let's talk
family.
about
I
the
know.
Chinese.
Hmm. Go ahead.
Let's talk about the Chinese because we have seen them in numbers in our country, more
Yes.
so now when they're there working on projects and so on. And there's
Right.
always a very high level of resistance to them.
Yes.
Um, in our own layman thinking, we think that them just come and take over the place, them have too much business there, and so on. And last time I checked, we while some of us aspire to own businesses, a great majority of us do not. However,
True.
we will become leeches on people. So what they say about the Chinese Jamaicans refer to the citizens of Jamaica of Chinese ancestry, and they include people who trace their lineage to the descendants of migrants from China. There were different waves of migrations to Jamaica. The first one was in the early 19th century, and the second wave was between the 1980s and the 1990s. Most of the descendants of the early migrants to Jamaica have since moved to other countries such as the US and Canada. The majority of Chinese Jamaicans are Hakka, whose ancestral origin are traced to the provincial regions of Guizhou, Hainan, Zhejiang, Hunan, Sichuan, Guangxi, Jiangxi, Fujian, and Guangdong, who had come to Jamaica as laborers and coolies between the mid
Mm-hmm.
19th century and the early 20th century. The earliest arrival of Chinese in Jamaica was in 1854 from
So the
China, and
coolies
the
is
second
actually
one
Chinese. Wow.
The earliest arrival of Chinese in Jamaica was in 1854 from China, and the second one was the migrants from Panama who had been contracted for plantations in Panama. In 1870, another group of 200 Chinese arrived in Jamaica, mainly from other Caribbean islands. The increase of the Chinese population in Jamaica was to replace the black slavery, which had been outlawed in all the British
Mhm.
Empire. It involved signing a 5-year contract that bound the laborer to a specific plant.
Right. So they were like indentured because now they came in
Yes,
getting paid to
there
do
you
what the
go.
slaves were doing for free.
Doing. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
Well,
hey,
there we
But
have
the
it at
Indians
the end of the day. Go ahead, Max.
sorry, you just read about the Chinese being indentured into the population as laborers, but I also have some documentation about the Indians too. They
mm-hmm.
too were ethnic minority in Jamaica. They arrived in as indentured laborers. They came to earn a fortune so they could start a better life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the Chinese; it's also the Indians. They were,
Yes.
taken as laborers.
But what's
That's why I
interesting,
was when I was growing up. They said Indian.
Go
we
ahead, Matt.
lost you, Matt. We lost
Can't
sound.
hear.
Oh, Max, we can't hear you.
But what I found interesting, to Lady D, we don't want a dead space.
Right.
What I found interesting that you just read is you mentioned coolies in the Chinese. I'm wondering if we had it wrong all this time. We called the Indians coolies when the Chinese were the coolies. I really have to go and read up about that. That's very interesting to
Well,
me.
it's still
Yes.
not a good term. So if we even have it wrong, make we leave it alone.
I think
No,
leave it alone,
but I mean, I'm going to, yes, sure did. But for my own enlightenment, I really, that's really surprised me because I was really
Yes.
listening to hear coolies mentioned in China,
In this.
Chinese
Yeah,
history.
there's some derogatory terms.
Yes,
There's some
Yes.
other
Yes, I
we're not
know.
gonna go them down, but they do have some other derogatory terms for Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, very, very interesting. I know a family, a friend of mine, she lives here in Florida too. If you saw her family together, a family picture. Okay, Evan. Evan, so we must leave it alone.
I think of my business.
If you saw her family in a family picture, you would think it's 7 nations.
Wow.
Everyone, and they're all sisters. Everyone look alike, look different. One look Chinese, one look Indian, one is with black. One is mixed. The other one look one different, like she come from one different European countries, and they're all from the same mother. So
Wow.
it's that diversity and that mix. And I've met her sister years before I met her, and this was a Chinese woman that I know. She and I used to work at the same place, and we used to talk. She was such a nice lady, and years later, I met her sister and realized that lady and her were sisters.
So
I would not have put the two together.
So let's hop on over because we've been having such interesting conversation. We don't want to leave out our peeps. So good morning to you, Vero. So nice to have you. Charles, it says, good morning, my Saturday morning family and friends. We're here again. Glad to see and hear each other. Me too.
Thank you.
Andrea said, morning, send some of the rain. What we're getting hasn't penetrated the earth, and she's in Barbados. Charles, it says, last week me run where and get a little sun, but me miss it already. Then Evan says he did not know about Bob.
Do you know Evan? Who knows Evan? Is he new?
I guess. I don't.
Welcome, Evan. I don't think I've ever seen your name on the program. Welcome from all of us, and please like and subscribe and share.
And so he says, leave it alone. Andrea says, I used to say I will not marry a coolie. Oh dear.
Evan, stir up the pot,
There you have it. So let me share about.
No, but just took up my bag.
Sharon's mute.
Sharon's.
Okay.
Yes.
We were saying mute
What?
because we hear your
Okay.
conversation.
Ooh,
Okay,
I was
so
muted. I don't know what happened.
yeah, bruh. So,
We
Pardon,
didn't hear you.
pardonnez-moi.
let me read about the White Jamaicans, they say. White Jamaicans
Mhm.
refer to Jamaican citizens who trace their ancestry to Europe, particularly to England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, Germany, Spain, and Portugal. According to the
Yes.
2011 census in Jamaica, the white population was 4,365 people, which represented about 0.16% of the total population. In the past, the white Jamaicans accounted for the larger portion of the country's population, particularly in the 17th century. In 1662, immediately after Jamaica became a British colony, the population of the white people was about 3,653, which accounted for 87% of the population in the country. The population of white people would increase to 7,768 in 1673, which accounted for about 45% of the population in the country because the population of black slaves had increased significantly. By 1960, the population of the white ethnic group accounted for 0.77% of the country's population, and by 1970, they accounted for 0.66% of the population, while in 2001, they accounted for 0.18 of the population in Jamaica. So there you have it.
Mhm.
All
Um,
right now.
or
We're
diverse
very
nation.
we're very
Well, they have
diverse
made their
people.
mark, and as a result, we do have some very diverse persons out there in the world that is representing and has represented us as a nation.
Mm,
So we have our Miss Worlds and our
mm.
famous artists and all those people.
People, yes.
But do you
And all
remember
these
the
people are of
days?
mixed. Our Miss World, huh?
So 1 second.
Go ahead,
So
Jan.
Yvonne says, I have white in my line from my father's side. The treatment was not
Was not
nice.
nice. Oh
Mhm.
wow.
Yes.
Are you Jamaican? Is everyone Jamaican?
We don't know. He'll have to disclose that. Mhm. Right. It's 16 minutes after 11 o'clock. Good morning. Celebrating the beauty of our unity in diversity. Out of many, one people, that's
Yes,
our
Yvonne is
Jamaican
Jamaican.
motto. Mhm.
That's unfortunate, that
Yes.
they would experience that kind
Mhm.
of behavior. It's about time. Like we said, it's about time people just realize that we are human beings. Lady D, you mentioned that in the
Mhm.
beginning, that we're
Mhm.
human. We're just human beings, and I love the fact that if we should say that the Lord had sense of humor. I love this part of it because it's a diversity that makes us so nice in this world. The
Yes.
Yes.
diversity.
Mhm.
I wouldn't want to be looking
Absolutely.
at somebody that just look like me for the whole of my life. You know,
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
see other people, and I want to learn about their culture and learn about
Yes.
how and even share in their lifestyle, their culture, and see if
Mhm.
just that diversity makes life just so
Mhm.
Right.
exciting. If we
Yeah.
could only live in
Interesting.
peace and unity,
Yeah.
interesting. If we could
Because
only live
Yeah.
Balance. We call it balance.
yes,
Balance.
evening school, when you would have a cultural day, and
right,
we adopt and depict
yes,
cultures, right? We have to go do research.
Mm-hmm.
If we have to do a presentation, I'm presenting on a particular culture and so on, and we find the dress of that culture, and it tells you so much more about what's out there that you don't know.
what's around you.
Yes.
Because yesterday I went to
Yes.
something similar at Ellie's school. They were doing a presentation, and it's like they picked out cultures from all over the Caribbean, Jamaica. They were singing, little kids, you know, they were singing Bob Marley music. They were singing different songs. They were doing the what you call it, the twists, and you know, all different cultures. It was so interesting, the diversity. It was, everybody was like clapping. It was so good. Because
you know, the first time I remember, the first time I performed at Lady D's church. I've done poetry there about 3 times, if I can recall. Remember Lady D?
Yeah, man.
That thing you do in the summertime, where they have the different flags from the different.
Well, we used to have
nations,
culture fest. Yes, we used to have culture fest before we merged into the Fun in the Sun.
Right. So that was when I met and knew Lady D. And I love the idea because they have flags from the different countries, and they also have the dishes. So, you know, different people would make different dishes.
Yes.
Of course, depicting their culture. So, you know, we're always going to be out of many one people. We can't hide from that.
Not at all. Yeah.
There is a Chinese Jamaican young lady that does a vlog on YouTube, and she would give you a little history on Jamaica and talk about different aspects of the Jamaican culture, people in the diaspora, stuff like that. And what annoys me is how people bash this young lady. They talk dirty, they say all manner of nasty things to her. The Chinese come to Jamaica and take her. This girl was born and raised and schooled in Jamaica. The only difference is that she has Chinese features. She's Chinese Jamaican, and she has the hair and whatever. But I don't remember her name. I'll find it. But she's very popular on YouTube, and she has to be explaining a lot of times about her background. She don't know anything much about the China where her foreparents came from, because she's Jamaican. Yeah. She knows about Jamaica. She went to school in Jamaica. She was born there. She did everything Jamaican. The only thing she look a little bit different from me. You understand? And the way they talk about her on her vlog, it's really disrespectful.
Yeah, that takes us back to the initial bugs. Same stuff.
When we're talking about out of many one people who born their children who were born there, they're innocent. Them born there came, the foreparents came, have children, and we're now in a different era.
Yes,
be more accepting.
Go ahead, Sharon.
She should know that these people are uneducated, and she should not let them get her bent out of shape. She should keep doing what she's doing. One thing with Jamaican, whether you're black, white, you're Chinese, whatever, we are very fierce, and we are very, very well self-assured. So all she has to do is do what she's doing. If she can, look here, as they tell you when you're doing these vlogs, don't read all the comments. Because not all of them going to be good. No matter what you do, you're going to fight just by virtue of probably walking into a room. Somebody might just be there who just decide them not going to like you no matter what. And there is nothing you can do about it.
Not at all.
So especially she don't take all this to heart. Her thing, she should just go ahead, keep doing it, and let success be her revenge on them crazies.
There you go. Because
she continues to do what she does. But you know, it's very disheartening when I think one of her vlogs came alongside a show that we did. I think it had to do with the heroes and stuff like that, and people who came. And it came alongside a show that we did. So I thought it was like within the same time. And when you look at some of the things that people were saying, that, you know, Chinese come in and them take over Jamaica and things that Jamaica, where you come from, and, you know, this kind of foolishness that we're talking to the young lady, it was really disrespectful to me.
But you do know, and I said that earlier in the introduction, that it's not only about how you look, but also how you sound. Because there are people who, the moment you not speaking patois and you speak English, there is an immediate resentment
Yes.
I been told how you sound, so you go on like you're nice. So there is
Guess
that.
what? And the other way around too. Some people detest talking patois. Oh, you talk
Patois.
so bad, you know. So
Yes.
it's both
Yes.
ways.
Yeah, same so. Because we had invited someone from Jamaica to be at the MC, because we move it around sometimes. And so
Right.
someone had come up from Jamaica to be the MC. So I did the production side. And hey,
Mhm.
a lady at church is just very put out by the fact that a lot of patois was used on the stage.
Yes.
And but it's the people, they're relating to it. You're out at an outdoor
Yes.
event. You have to switch it up
Event.
and mix
It's
it up a little
appropriate.
bit,
So,
right?
Yes.
so that means she never like Papa
Exactly.
San
Yeah.
performance.
I'm not getting to that part, but
Okay. She
she
needs
knows
them need to turn her upside down and shake out her bag.
no, it's a
You
senior.
know, they
It's a
need to
senior.
lift her up, turn her upside down and shake out her bag.
No, but
Honestly.
it's
Come
a
on.
senior.
Oh
No,
God.
it's a senior person. She's an older woman, but she didn't think, because in her head we're live streaming. It is going to different parts of the world, and I'm
It
saying,
doesn't
well,
matter.
we are also in different parts of the world.
We are
Absolutely.
everywhere.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Things and times have
you know,
changed.
it's
That
about
you
us
know that
Well,
okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
that goes to show you the era that she's coming from. It wasn't
Yes.
accepting for you to
Tush.
wear your nappy head and all of that. It wasn't accepting for you to speak outside of the English language. You have to learn the English. You could be going to one place, you could never go in one church and even play reggae music.
right.
You couldn't wear locks
Yes.
in church. So
Mhm.
she's
Yes.
coming from
Back
that
then.
era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, back then. Well,
So
I do MCing myself. I do a lot of MCing, and and then I use patois every now and then. I'd break or something in patois because we are there. The Jamaicans are there, and they want it and they love it.
mhm.
Last year when I performed for Wayne All and Wayne All show, I did pieces from my book. I think I did 3 pieces from my book, and as soon as I was finished reading the last poem from the book, somebody hollowed out in the audience, "Give us some patois!" Even though I had it lined up in the program to do patois pieces, they want to hear it because
Yeah.
it was a mostly Jamaican audience anyway, and they know that I do patois pieces. Somebody hollowed out in the back of the audience, "Give us some patois!" Me say, "Wait, now I'm coming too anxious," and and so I delivered my pieces.
That's right.
So
So
we always want to use. So it's okay to use it even when you're on a formal stage. You're not gonna run the whole show and be patois,
no.
but break out something.
Mm-hmm.
Break up the momentum.
Mm-hmm. So Evon
You have
says
to
this
go in it, as
generation.
we say. You have to go in it.
All right.
That's
So
it.
Yes, going night.
You have to
Evon
make
says
no excuses for it.
this generation shall be loaded with Jamaican children who speak with 2 tongues.
All
There you
right,
go.
everyone.
Andrea says, I had
Same
that
way.
treatment while living in Canada by Jamaicans who keep saying I'm speaky spokey. I like
Speaking spoken.
one. Speaky spokey. Well, we're
Well,
going
I
to wrap
pride
up
myself on
in a
writing and
few
speaking
minutes,
it.
celebrating the beauty of our unity in diversity. Jamaica we come from. And,
Yes.
we're from across 14 parishes. We sound differently. Even when we speak patois, it may be not sound like yours,
Soon
and
to be
yours just
15
sound
Yes.
like
parishes.
mine, right?
Soon to be 15.
Hey, well, let's see how that goes, right? But we should not leave people alone. I tell people, I don't trouble people, do not trouble me.
Yes.
We not trouble people, so not trouble me.
Oh.
We need to leave each other alone and allow
Yeah.
us to
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ever know
flow.
who I look forward to seeing, White Jamaican, the White Jamaican vlogger, the guy there, and the other one, what he was
Yeah, I
talking
like
about, he
him
was
too.
talking about the travel
Okay.
situation in Jamaica. I look forward to seeing them. They remind me
Oh,
of
yeah.
home,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
them are Jamaican just like we,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
you know. But we're going to
Yeah.
tell them, say, born there. Them born there, grew up there. So they're Jamaicans. We're out of many one people. We need to live like that.
Can't take it.
Hey,
Yep.
see?
That's it.
Coat of arms.
The
Yep.
coat of
We,
arms.
we see the
Hey,
crocodile behind you.
you see him.
Mhm.
Me can go
That's
eat it
him
for
and the two.
Yes,
breakfast.
yeah.
And the two coolie.
We can go eat. Maybe me can have him for maybe one leg for breakfast. Me don't do.
I tell you, can make some hors d'oeuvres.
Hey.
I know, right?
We'd like to
Funny.
thank everyone for tuning in with us for Saturday Morning Runnings. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We want to see you every chance we get. And again, okay. So like, comment, share, subscribe to Inside the Zone with Lady D. We're going to be back,
Yeah.
God willing, Saturday. But
Mm-hmm.
join me on Monday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. right here on Inside the Zone for the Monday Drive, keeping you in the know in the city you walk, drive, and reside. And on Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. with Center Stage. And then we come back together right here, Saturday morning.
Lady
Don't
D, before you
leave.
go,
1 minute, Jack. Do not leave without. So bless ups to
Subscribe.
the Jamaicans. But if you're Jamaican, look at your device. You'll see the word subscribe. If you don't mind me saying, you can just use your finger and juke,
joke.
Joke.
juke, juke the word. Or
Joke
just
the
tap
word it
if you
now, go
don't,
jump up and
or
bite you.
if you prefer, just tap, right? When you juke the
Attach.
word subscribe, you'll see a little bell just shift like that. You'll see a little bell. You tap the bell and you'll see the word all. Juke all. And each time we're live, we'll just pop up in your device. So you don't have to wait for me to be sending out a link. People funny, they will love
Right.
watch something, but they really not get around to the subscribing part of it. And
Mhm.
then when they know the show is supposed to be on, they're sending me a note. Lady D, you're live. Because you're not subscribed, so you don't know. So please,
Yes.
just at
Right.
least
Yeah.
5 people. When you do that, share it with at least 5 people, and you can be descriptive as I am. Hey, just joke the word, do the same thing, and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
And subscription is free. There's no
It's
payment for
free.
subscription. It's free.
You
Yes,
don't have
smart.
to
Free, free,
pay
free.
for it. You
Let's
don't have
build
to
this
pay for
thing.
it. Okay, so
Lady D,
thank
have you
you.
checked out? Have you checked out Cooler Runnings vegan restaurant?
I am gonna go by. I spoke to
I've been seeing
Patrick
some great
yesterday.
meals being posted. I wish I was
Yes.
in the neighborhood. I would
So
certainly sample.
Everything is wonderful.
Oh, you've been there.
Oh, my husband go there every day.
okay.
Oh,
So no, I didn't go yet.
you first me.
And I'm not exaggerating. Well, we had some evidence, but it's now gone.
Oh, Jesus.
But but they have some very, very, very good dishes. Even if you're not vegetarian, you should
I'm
go and check it out still because the stuff is very diverse and you wouldn't believe what you can get. Very, very good, very, very nice. Very,
diverse
very
Mhm.
like
nice.
we. All
Free
right.
commercial for
Yes.
Cool Runnings. That's a
I
free
And
know that.
commercial.
them have curry chickpeas, Max.
Okay,
Yes,
that
I
is a
love curry
curry.
chickpeas.
So
Yes.
before I go, I just heard Jackie says very diverse like we. So you see me with my straight coolie here. You see Sharon's with her long flowing wave.
Yes, ma'am.
See Jackie
That's
with
Yes,
what it
her
is
long,
this week.
and then Max balled. So you
with
see,
a ballad.
hey,
Yes. Diversity all the way.
Damn
Can't get it
so.
more than that. Can't get it better than that.
Not at all.
so
Well, Cooler Running sponsors Lady D, so that's one of the
yes.
reasons why I mentioned them, and I'm happy for their growth. And it's a great look in the neighborhood. I wish I was in the whenever I'm in New York, I'll definitely stop
Definitely
by
check it
Cooler
out.
Runnings.
It's yeah,
Yeah,
man. It's
stop
really
by Cooler
it's
Runnings
really
restaurant.
So
Big up
as
it's
Uncle
really good.
Soji.
yes,
Big
so
up
as
Uncle
we are
Soji and the
wrapping
Cooler
up,
Runnings group.
As we're wrapping up, we'd like to acknowledge the presence of Brenda. And good morning, Brenda. We'd just like to ask you to sing the doxology for us. We are wrap up, Brenda.
She come to get closing prayer.
You're late.
We're not going for you. We're just having fun.
Better late than never.
Benediction, please.
Lord Jesus.
She can't pull it back and rewind from the top.
Of
Hold
course.
and pull it up.
Lord, Father Jesus, help us. So we're going to thank everybody for tuning in, and we love you know, God willing, soon the next Saturday morning at 10 o'clock right here on Inside the Zone. Blessings, everyone. Love, love.
Have a good one.
Ladies,
Love,
can
love.
you just stay back 1 minute? Don't move. Just stay
Okay.
back 1 minute. So blessings. We love you know, we out.